The power of reducing your oxidative stress on your life and health span. That is today's show. If you tune into the show live, you'll know our partners help you make your low-tox swaps. This month, we have BioFirst with an international offer and Oz Climate, our major sponsor, with an Aussie offer going the whole year. Check out the details below in case there's something you need, and enjoy the show. Nayan, hello. It's great to have you on the show. I first want to ask you, as a pharmacist by trade, I know you moved into a space where you recognized, along with doctors, that you could partner together to individualize the patient experience through compounding and personalized medicine. What was that journey for you? We all study the books at uni and it's all quite, and then we think we're just going to be dispensing things in a chemist or a pharmacy. What made you realize that pharmacy could be a lot more?
So, I did not. I went to one of the top two universities in United States, in pharmacy school back in the mid 90s. And when I graduated, when you graduate from a top university in the world and you expect to change the world, and I was told that no, you're not to change the world. You're here to manage people's problems with medication. And I guess, wait a second. I had all this education to just dispense prescription medications and not actually solve any problems. I said, I have bills to pay, so I'll do it for a couple of years. But then after a couple of years it hit, I said, no, gosh, no, this is not the right thing for me to do. So I started looking into, okay, you know what? I'm just going to go other end. And from there, the easy transition was to let me make customized medicine for everybody. Same prescription areas, nothing going too outside the core my competency, and just design medications for my elite patients on how they can better themselves with custom compound medications. So that's what I started doing it first.
Mm-hmm. And
And
what kind of things were you doing? Can you kind of unpack that so we can get an
absolutely.
example or two and really understand?
So all the people that were coming to me, I hate dealing with sick people, unfortunately.
Interesting line of work to find
I
yourself
know
in.
people don't want to get healthy. It's not because the thing is they don't know, they don't want to. Is it they don't know the know-hows, or the belief structure is so far away from the truth that for me it's very hard to pull them back in. Let me give you an example. So when you're born, you're perfect. No
Sure.
diseases,
Some
no
of us
nothing
are.
wrong.
Yeah.
Well, most of us are. Most of
Most
us
of
are
us are.
perfect.
Yeah.
They have no problems whatsoever. And then we introduce to you some food. You go with life with very healthy habits and every single thing. And then something changes, right? About age 18, 19, 20, you go to universities and you go to colleges and you pick up some bad habits, you drink alcohol. And still not bad yet. The body is, every time you eat a food, you expose you to chemicals, you expose to toxins, your body's adjusting, and you basically bring back to homeostasis, basically back to normal. Adjust again, bring back to normal. But every time it's adjusting, is moving the needle further away towards becoming sick, right? Eventually, the day is going to come, maybe at the age of 30, 35, in some cases earlier, but a day is going to come where your lab tests are showing some sort of abnormalities, nothing out of range yet, by the way. If your cholesterol is this much, where it's too high versus too low, and you are inching towards getting towards the high side, it's not out of range yet, but it's going towards the wrong direction. The doctors tell you, well, Alex, take care of it. Nothing to worry about yet. Just watch your diet and you'll be fine. Well, I've been watching my diet. It's not improving any better. So what happens that over time, the body stops adjusting because the body has given up on you. I said, hey, there's only so much things I can bring you back to normal. Now the markers are changing. By the time the markers are changing, you still are invincible because nothing's wrong with you. Eventually, the markers are out of range. When they go out of range, in some cases, you feel the effect of it. In most cases, there's no effect of it. What if your cholesterol is a little bit high? Nothing's going to go wrong. What if your sugar is a little bit high? Nothing's going to go wrong. What if your blood pressure is a little bit high? nothing's going to go wrong, right? But that's the onset of the problem. And then from that point onwards, if you don't fix it right away, the body gets deteriorated and deteriorated and deteriorated. And by the time the doctor intervenes with you, you're 20 to 30 years out of having the initial problem.
Mm.
The issue now is that when you go out that far and you do the medication, how far can you go back? You cannot go back to childhood. There's no way you can go back to childhood. There's no way you can go back to when your body stops adjusting and it starts giving you markers. You're going to a point where your markers are out of range, and now you're within the range. You're out of range, within the range, out of range, within the range. That's what the whole thing is all about. And that's a small pendulum people are going in there, where the real key is going on the other side, where there's sanity, longevity, health span, and your body is in perfect homeostasis. Because, hey, everybody else is doing it, so it's okay. I'm not that bad. You're comparing to the worst person in the world. I'm not that bad, right? And so the reality is that we have to go back to what our body wants, the body needs. And if we do not fix that, we are getting further away from the truth. And that was my epiphany, why I started my journey towards working on glutathione molecule, because that was the only molecule that I found out was going to bring me back to where I began.
Mm-hmm.
And
So about halfway through that, you said it's impossible to go back to childhood, but then are you saying with the discovery of glutathione that you did in fact figure out how we could go back to that homeostasis that we have in most childhoods?
I am getting very close to getting down to 20, 25, 30 years of age.
Wow. Okay.
And I mean, yeah, I mean, if we can keep you at the 25 to 30-year range for the rest of your life, oh my God, imagine you're 100 years old and still able to do anything you want to do like you were in 25, 30 years of age. Skiing down the slopes, climbing mountains, enjoying hiking and doing bicycling and touring the world. I mean, life is supposed to be enjoyable and
Yeah.
fun,
And
right?
it's interesting, isn't it? Because I feel like the advent of ultra processed foods has curated what our perception of enjoyable and fun actually is. Like, have a break, have a Kit Kat, or,
Oh my,
choose life, Coca-Cola. Like, we could go on, right?
I thought you
Um,
said no brand endorsements.
yeah. Oh, those are anti-brand endorsements. Don't you worry about that. But I think it's really important because we have so much to psychologically unpack from a cultural perspective of what good
Yes.
times are. Right.
And,
And
and
yeah,
I
I
think
agree with you. Like mountain climbing the Alps is actually what humans should be, centering our goals around as a good time.
yeah.
But that said, you did actually mention cookies and ice cream, and I made cookies and I made ice cream sandwiches out of cookies for my nephews on the weekend because it was my brother-in-law's birthday. So I'm just like full disclosure here. Um, if we are otherwise healthy and have a good homeostasis, is it completely implausible to suggest that one would be able to do that from time to time?
Of course you can do that.
Mm.
But if you are way off the radar and the
Yes,
body's
I'm.
not back in homeostasis yet, it'll take you years to get back
Mm,
into homeostasis. And once you are there, you know, I can honestly think that you can enjoy life and make food as part of the enjoyment of life, but please do not make that the only enjoyment in life.
yes,
because
100%.
because food, if you think about it, and I have this dilemma with my own family, because everything is circling around food and alcohol,
Mm,
right? I don't drink alcohol. I'm convincing my whole family not to drink alcohol, and they commit themselves to drinking maybe once every other week, 1 or 2 glasses, if that's any. But that's the most they've come to me yet. Sugars is another big culprit of mine too. I love ice cream. I love some funky little flavors of ice cream, and I'll probably indulge myself maybe once or twice a month. But you know what? I have learned that over the last 13 to 15 years, I have really worked on really hard to reverse as much problems I have in the past to back to normal.
Hmm.
Have I completely reversed everything yet? No, I'm still working on it right now, right? But today, I'm 53 years old today. I feel a lot more energetic today than I was at 40.
And what was going on for you at 40, Nayan, if
So
I can ask? Were there some illnesses? Did you
nope,
actually have a bit
there's
of a
no illnesses.
personal epiphany?
Nope, nope,
No.
nope. I had no illnesses whatsoever. I was a little bit on the heavier side. My eating habits were not very good. My stress levels up the wazoo. I was working too many hours, not enjoying life, not too many vacations, maybe once every other year if I could, right? I was just working too hard. And I realized that I was hoping that the vitamins that I take is going to save me.
Mm.
And today I take zero vitamins and I'm in best health of my life today.
Wow.
And
That's
so
an exciting call.
it's a whole different mind shift,
Mm.
right? And it's the less you do, the more you have, right? And so I had to figure out every single thing, right? Like I had a bunch of friends that I only see them maybe once a year now, because every time we get together, they would have a glass of drink, a beer or wine or something. And I said, I cannot hang out with that, right? And
Mm.
so I stopped going to all these events and parties and things like that. Give me more time to work on myself. And I learn more about myself. And so the more I'm coming back to this thing is I find out that our body is designed completely perfect. Everything we need, medication wise, we have it inside our body. The body can fight its own infections. The body can fight its own inflammation. Body can fight any injuries that comes to it. It can do all those things if we just let the body do its work. But
Okay.
instead of allowing the body to do its work, we guess what we do? We give them more work. For
Mm.
example, you have a housemaid, right? The
Yeah.
housemaid is supposed to come clean your house, change your sheets, do your laundry, do some cooking, and go home,
Hmm.
right? That's all it's supposed to do. But you come home, I said, oh, no, 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 no. Can you make sure, can you bathe my dog? Can you take care of him? Can you take him can you take him for a walk? You still expect them all the other work to be done because you're not going to do all the work. You still expect the maid to do all that work for you, but now you just dump more work on them,
Mm.
right? So our body is designed to keep us safe and clean at all times, but we keep on putting through our mouth additional work for our body to deal with it.
Well, and through our environment as well.
Well, that's a whole different story. That I can go off on that one too,
Mm.
and that's not going to get any. This it's not going to get any better anytime soon. By the way, and I tell this every single time people ask me a question. I said, if you only had animals on this planet, our planet will be completely pristine the whole time.
Mm.
But we got humans on this planet, and the humans have a mind, and the mind is crazy. They want to do all kinds of things. They want to build buildings. They want to fly from one place to another. They want to build cars, and they want to explore the other parts of the world, and they want to jump off from Earth to Mars. And so it's, it's just it is destroying the planet in the hope of growing the human or mankind. Uh, but in reality is that we are taking all the things that has been grounded inside the earth, we bring it to the surface, and our body is not equipped to deal with it.
Mm.
And so that toxicity load, it's not going away anytime soon.
Mm.
So we are
Well,
not,
yeah.
yeah,
Definitely not. Something you mentioned there was we are designed to fight our own infections. And while I absolutely believe that to be true, at the same time, if you look at the reasons people died 100 years ago, we could be wiped out by an infection just like that. So, can you
absolutely,
unpack that a little
absolutely.
bit? Because I just want
So
to give a well rounded kind of,
absolutely.
yeah.
So if you think about it, the only longevity drug ever discovered is penicillin.
Mm.
Penicillin by itself saved so many lives. The life expectancy went from 40 years of age to close to 60 years of age overnight,
Yeah.
right? But if you think about penicillin today, nobody would take it every single day to increase your lifespan.
No.
No, No, it's
No,
not a
it's
lot
not
of
about having a penicillin deficiency that makes
exactly.
us sick. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what was going on at that time is what we had a biggest issue with that was hygiene issue,
Mm.
right? So we took care of the hygiene issues. Like if you go to OR, you don't see doctors eating a sandwich and just operating on you anymore, right? It's
Yeah.
completely sanitized and clean. If you look at your house, you have everything cleaned out at all times. You have sprayers and everything gets sanitized all the time. And so the sanitary conditions have actually helped us reduce the load that your body has to deal with it.
Got it. Mm.
When the load increases, the body cannot deal with it.
Mm.
At a lower load, the body can absolutely deal with it.
Mm.
Absolutely deal with it, right? And that's where the glutathione will come into play. I'll share a story about glutathione and all the studies I've done to basically show how glutathione is actually doing all this work for us behind the scenes and how is improving our immune system and inflammatory markers and so on and so forth.
Mm.
But at the same time, if you think about today, people want to live to 120. It's not even a. I was asked this question even yesterday. I said, Nayan, if you had to put a number, how long do you think you're going to survive? I said, you know, if I think back, my parents had already had disease at the age of 35 and 40.
Mm.
They already were diagnosed with diabetes and arthritis and blood pressure issues by all my families, right? Myself, my mom and dad, my wife's, my in-laws, they all had some sort of disease. My in-laws had a heart attack at the age of 40,
Mm.
right? And so if they've already diseased, they stayed for another 30, 40 years. So that's a lifespan as I look at it. Once you're diagnosed with a disease, you have 30 or 40 years to live. I don't have any disease right now, none. I don't have my blood pressure issues. I don't have a cholesterol issue. I don't have any sugar issues. All my biomarkers are extremely low. I check my genetic markers are very good conditions. I have no epigenetic alterations in my body, and I feel fantastic. So as of right now, I guarantee you that I'll be living at least 40 more years.
Mm-hmm.
So there goes 93. Now, if I follow the path that I'm choosing for myself, and if I can stay disease free for another 15 years or so, I'm well over 115, 110.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I said that I can probably figure out how to stay till 120, it's not even a question. I say, you know what? I think that's doable today. And people like me are all over the place right now. They're
Mm-hmm.
much more healthy than I am. They're in very good shape than I am. And they expect to live to 120. The only reason they can live to 120 or above or even more is if they have a good health span.
Yeah.
So then I go look back. I said, okay, what are the top 10 causes of death in the world? Can I avoid all of them? Whoa, wouldn't that be a miracle, right? So one
Mm.
of them, out of the top 10, one of them is accidents. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about the accidents,
Yeah.
right? Uh, So let's take it out of the picture. The other 9 causes of death is all of them is linked to oxidative stress.
Mm.
That your body's oxidative stress is increasing, leading to cancers, leading to metabolic disorders, leading to diabetes, leading to autoimmune conditions and infections, and so on and so forth. So if all top 10 causes of death in the world is linked to oxidative stress, my number one job is what? Figure out a way how to reduce oxidative stress, keep it low at all times throughout my life. If I can do that one thing, I can delay the onset of diseases. I can delay when I'm going to die.
Hmm.
That was my epiphany when I received back in 1999, and my everything I started working on was one molecule. Because at that time, if you think about it, oxidative stress, there's only 3 things you can do to reduce it. 3 things. One, you can take outside products like vitamin C, vitamin E, CoQ10, C60s, methylene blue, cholera tablets, and oh my God, there's a slew of products. They call them antioxidants.
Mm.
Okay, bucket number 1. Put all the products in bucket number 1. Everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Bucket number 2. Our body produces glutathione peroxidase enzymes, superoxide dismutase, another enzyme, catalase, another enzymes. Those 3 enzymes, what I call them bucket number 2. Bucket number 3, a body produces a tripeptide called glutathione. Okay? If you combine bucket one, which is all the antioxidants in the world, the bucket two, which is the enzymes, you combine them together, glutathione works far more superior than those two buckets combined.
Wow. And you
It's
said try there. Can you unpack the three
absolutely.
amino acids playing into it?
So, well, nowadays people know peptides, what peptides are. 25
Mm.
years ago, nobody knew what peptide was. So today we should talk about peptide. Glutathione is the name glutathione comes in because somebody discovered this thing back in the 18th century. But there are three amino acids coming together to make it one small peptide. They name it glutathione. The three amino acids are glutamine, glycine, and cysteine. Cysteine is the least abundant molecule produced. Uh, so that's the least amount of molecule that you get from a diet. So
Mm-hmm.
if you just eat cysteine-rich foods, your body can unpack the cysteine, use that to produce its own glutathione, and you have glutathione for the rest of your life and not have to take any supplementation whatsoever.
Mm. And what are those foods? Where could we be focusing to get that?
Okay, so my mom told me to stay away from questions that out of your wheelhouse. So I can't talk about politics, religion, and diets.
Uh-huh.
People have
Okay.
their own diet plans. So I'm not going to tell you what diet plan is good for you. What I'm going to tell you is that if you just put your favorite search engine or your AI robot, ask them the question, please give me cysteine-rich food.
Mm.
And you're going to get a list of vegan choices, vegetarian choices, carnivore choices, your paleo choices, your keto choices. I don't care what diet plan you follow. You can get choices from every one of those diet plans. They all have it.
Mm.
Your job is to pick and make sure that that food is your diet every single day.
Yeah.
Not once in a while, not 3 times a week. It's every day
Mm-hmm.
because glutathione is the ultimate building block in your body. It's the most abundant molecule produced in the human body, and it does the most amount of work in the human body. And by far, I strongly believe that after air and water, your body needs the most abundant thing it needs is glutathione. And if you have all three things in your body, nobody can kill you.
Awesome. Okay. And so, except for accidents and malicious crime, let's just say. So hopefully those two things aren't happening. Now,
Yes.
I'm very interested then in some of the things that we perceive to be completely normal, either culturally or, I'm thinking like environmental toxins, like mold that you see in your house or a water damage leak. You don't think, oh my gosh, my glutathione levels. I
I
had
know.
to because I experienced and have done numerous times since, unfortunately, water damage. So I know the relationship between depletion there. I also have experienced not an addiction, thankfully, but a 3, 4, 5, 6 year period of migraines in my late teens, where I was given by very well meaning doctors and adults in my life a lot of painkillers. And when I say a lot, I was probably at a point in my early 20s where I was taking a box full of a Mesindol kind of type painkiller a month. A box, like a small box, not one of those mega boxes you see now, which I'm horrified by, but, say 24 tablets. Now, that is a heck
Wow.
ton
Oof.
of paracetamol based painkillers.
Yes.
And I knew much later the impact on the liver and glutathione of doing
Oh
that
my God.
for that long. But the problem, Nayan, is I'm lucky to be a creative thinker who started to think, well, this can't be right and go looking. But such is our culture that most people don't go looking. And so we are left with these ill health disease states without even realizing there might be something on the other side. And that makes me really sad. It's part of why I have this podcast to just help people see you got options, like maybe look into this. Can you talk about some of those things that we either see as normal or are very frequent in a modern life that are depleting our glutathione stores?
Absolutely. So the question you asked me about paracetamol. So FDA in the United States have approved the use of N-acetylcysteine, which is amino acid, to improve glutathione levels to work with the toxicity of paracetamols or acetaminophen in the United States. It's the same
Mm.
drug,
Yeah.
right? It's the only drug approved by FDA in the United States ever. So, and you're right, 24 paracetamol, it's absolutely destroying your liver completely.
Yeah.
If you eat 50, you won't even wake up the next day.
Mm.
So
Oh, I didn't take them in one day, by the way. Just
oh my God, thank you.
over the course of a month, like say 3 migraine's a month, and then 2
Okay,
days
gotcha.
of hammering a couple every 8 hours.
Oh, trust me, I have people taking 10, 20 pills a day.
Oh my gosh. No,
Okay.
I never deviated.
Okay.
The thing I find interesting is I never deviated from what it said on the box.
Okay, good.
I
Because
take
anything more than
issue
8. Yeah.
with the fact that what it says on the box still ain't great if you don't have an end point to it and you're just allowed to keep picking it up and no one's following you on that journey because it's over the
True.
counter.
Yeah, if it's more than 8 pills per day, it's absolutely toxic to your liver, and there's a very good chances that you may even die from it too, like instantaneous death. So it's very, very toxic product that's in the world. Yes, and it does affect your liver immediately.
Yeah.
But that's not the only product. There's so many chemicals, drugs that are out there that depletes your glutathione level. The biggest one is the cancer drugs, right? So there are those old chemotherapy, cisplatin types of chemotherapy drugs, which are very, very common for breast cancer patients to use it all the time. And breast cancer are very, very common cancers all over the world. And so they use this Taxols and cisplatin all the time. And that particular product depletes the glutathione levels to 0. You know, in fact, don't have to go to cancer therapy drug. Guess what else depletes the glutathione levels to 0 that 21-year-olds is taking right now?
21-year-olds.
Yeah.
Alcohol. Yeah.
Alcohol. Alcohol is actually decrease the glutathione levels to 0 with one drink.
Really? For
With
how
one
long?
drink.
Can we measure that by hours that it's
Well,
depleted?
for 4 to 6 hours, 4 to 6
Right.
hours.
So like
But
sugar.
still,
Yeah.
but still, you know, 10 years of that, and you got a problem. You have a problem, right? And I'm fortunate to work with some oncologists who's dealing with liver cancer patients all the time, and we are working with them to see if they can enhance their the livelihood or the likelihood of them surviving from liver cancers with some glutathione type supplementations. And I says, it's good, but it's not going to be enough. You cannot push your body out too far to the point where you can't come back.
And so people listening who are going through cancer treatment right now and have made the choices they've made, and far be it for either of us to say whether that's a right or wrong choice. Are you saying, though, that it's critical that we bring in glutathione to mitigate some of the damage of those drugs while being on them?
So that's a very controversial statement, right? Because for me, because the research that's out there right now, so until I started working on my technology of delivering glutathione to the human body, all the technology that exists in the world could be intravenous form of injections of glutathione or some liposome technology products of glutathione. All those products were actually not getting absorbed by human body. They were all getting broken down. And so the body was only taking the cysteine molecule from those products, using that to produce its own glutathione endogenously, which is inside your mitochondria.
Yeah.
Now, cancer cells does not produce their own glutathione. They hijack the mitochondria and takes away all the glutathione from there. So if you're producing more because you need glutathione, it takes away more. So the researchers said that if you give glutathione, you're actually feeding the cancer. And partially that might be true.
Wow.
Partially that might be true because that was the theory they have. But then when I started working with a different technology product that we have, all of a sudden, the chemotherapy was actually working better because it was protecting the other cells from getting damaged. And we can figure out why. right?
Mm.
Even today's day, we do not know why. So I say right now that use with caution, work with the oncologist to see what's right for you, what's not right for you. Not all chemotherapy will deplete your glutathione levels, so some may
Yeah, you
not.
mentioned older
Yeah,
generations specifically.
yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
And so currently, and by the way, glutathione by itself, it is not anywhere close to helping getting rid of cancer.
Hmm.
So make sure you understand that part.
Yeah.
That if you
Thank you for
decide not to do
clarifying.
anything else and just do glutathione, it is not going to solve your problem even a little bit.
Mm.
Okay, it's going to protect your healthy cells, but the cancer cells is going to do nothing.
Mm.
So I just want to make sure people understand that. Just don't, okay, I can drop my chemotherapy and just go do this one. No way. Please
No,
don't do
please
that.
don't do
Please
that.
do not do that.
Yes.
That is
Um,
not.
so could we say that it's important to work on restoring glutathione after any kind of intensive medical treatments you might have
Oh my
experienced?
God, absolutely yes. And not
Great.
just chemo, but anytime you go to surgery, your body's going
I
through
was going to
so much
say,
stress. If you're going through any radiation therapy, if you're going out in sun for too long, you know, I'm not sure if you guys like to sunbathe, but if you do,
oh,
that's not a good thing.
it's definitely part of
Unfortunately,
the Australian culture. We've got a
yeah,
very hot sun. So yeah,
yeah.
not great.
So yeah, sun is supposed to be. Sun is not so hot in the United States. I don't know why. No, it's the same sun, by the way. It's the same
It's the
intensity.
same sun, but there is just something about when and overseas people visit and they think they know their sun tolerance, and then in Australia they're like, okay, no, no, no.
This is hot.
For some
Yeah,
reason it's lower. But
yeah.
I think it's interesting because the sun gets a bad rap in recent medical literature, but in very recent medical literature, there's a nuanced discussion being had about the critical importance of sun, which I think is really important to
Yeah.
acknowledge that we've made this. Hold on, it's not that all sun is bad. It's just that
No.
we need to be wiser about how we get out there and when, and we do need it.
So here's the thing I'll tell you. Glutathione is reduced form in the body,
Yeah.
gets uh gets neutralized the free radicals, gets oxidized.
Mm-hmm.
And the oxidized glutathione stays in the body for a little bit longer. And when the energy comes back to it, it can become reduced again.
Mm-hmm.
The energy comes from, guess what? Sun.
Sun.
So sun is actually not bad for you, but after 10 minutes or so, direct sun exposure, it's bad for you.
Mm.
Okay, a little bit of exposure is not bad for you, right? So you cover up the rest of the body, you have a little bit of exposure out there, and that's plenty enough to get your body the sun it needs to do all the chemical reaction, and your job is done,
Yeah,
right? But if
especially that
you are
morning sun, which is not dangerous sun. So that's the
no,
good
morning
news.
sun is actually not even painful and not even burning your skin at
Mm,
all. It's like the morning, the evening suns are a little bit on the calmer side, and so those are not so bad. But even in the midday when it's scorching hot, if you're out for 5 or 10 minutes, it's not a bad thing,
yeah,
right?
it's plenty.
Is this overexposure to sun is what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
Uh,
Okay, so with glutathione depletion, how are we've talked about food, and I love your tip to just literally get out there, type your diet in, and then what foods that you are eating are rich. And so we focus on that. There are a lot of different supplements for sale on the market
yes.
and lots of different forms. You can get it in capsules, you can get it in combined supplements, antioxidant formulas. You can get it as a liposome form. You can get it injected, as you said. Where have you landed on the most effective administration of glutathione?
All right. So let me just tell you about glutathione supplementation
Yeah.
in terms of how would you increase the glutathione levels in your body.
Yes. Great.
The first thing you gotta do is stop your expenses,
Ooh. Yep.
right? So
Okay.
stop drinking alcohol, stop getting exposure to overexposure to sun, start getting reducing exposure to chemical toxicities, uh, unhealthy makeup and unhealthy chemicals inside your for hair care products and your dishwashing soaps and laundry detergents and the cleaning supplies in your house, all those things. Go as eco-friendly as possible that is not toxic to your body because it's all depleting glutathione levels.
Mm-hmm.
Food, try to stay away from meats that have heavy metals in them, right? So fishes, chicken that have the arsenic streaks in there, those are bad for you, and things like that. So avoid doing bringing harm to your body that's depleting glutathione level is the first thing you do.
Yeah.
Right? Second thing you do is make sure your diet has cysteine rich foods in every single meal of your day, every day. If you do those two things alone, your body can produce glutathione for the rest of your life. Unfortunately, our modern day conveniences, we have cell phones, we have cars, we have planes, we fly, we exposed to pollutions and toxicities. And I'm not saying don't do that. Don't go into some remote part of Australia, just live on a deserted island. No, that's not the answer. You live in a society, but knowing that your glutathione levels are getting depleted starting about the age of 30, 35. They're getting depleted. You may not have any diseases. You may not have no conditions. But the levels, when they get depleted, you start to get a little bit of fatigueness kicks in, a little bit of foggy thinking kicks in, a little bit of joint pain kicks in, sleep disturbance kicks in. And of course, you want to blame the environmental factors that, hey, I just got married, I just had a kid, I just have a new job, I just have a new house, I just got out of college. You can blame all the external factors, but in reality, your body's not keeping up with your demands. Okay? And
Yeah.
so then all the symptoms are kicking in. And so your glutathione levels actually started depleting already. So then the supplementation comes into place. And so 140 years, we have known about glutathione now. And if you just put any, I don't know, online shopping mall that sells glutathione supplementations, you're probably going to find 1,000 different products that are out there. And I will tell you, none of them actually works. None of them actually absorbs. The only one that is approved by any agencies in the world is N-acetylcysteine, NAC. NAC is approved in the United States since the 60s to improve glutathione levels, and it can improve the glutathione levels, decent levels, not high normal, but decent levels, enough to get you out of the trouble and back out of the hospital. It's only used in the hospital setting. It's not used for general use on a daily basis. Because there's two things as a problem. Your body actually does not absorb glutathione. The body has to make its own glutathione only. You cannot take it from outside sources and just take it as is. It's not like you eat a piece of steak and the muscle from the steak is going to get into muscles in your biceps.
Good
It doesn't work
analogy.
that way. The body breaks it down, absorbs all the amino acids, take the amino acids, combine those together, make it into a human muscle fiber. Okay? That's how it works. You cannot just take a muscle and take it and put it in the muscles in your body. It doesn't work that way. Same thing with glutathione. It's a peptide. The body doesn't take the peptide, put it out, and just put it in the cells to use it up. No, it breaks it down, absorbs the amino acids, and uses amino acids to produce its own glutathione. And so the research suggested that, hey, we should use it in injectable form. 1991, there was a study done in the United States where they took 10 people and injected them with glutathione. And what they found out was within 5 to 15 minutes, all the glutathione was in the urine. Everything.
Wow, that's quick.
Nothing. Yeah, because it stays in the plasma, never into the blood cell, and the plasma gets filtered by the kidneys every 5 to 15 minutes, and it's all dumped inside. But then they waited, and almost 1.5 to 2 hours later, they saw a rise of cysteine in the blood. So the body was, in the urine, the body was breaking down the glutathione and absorbing the cysteine out of there.
Oh, wow. It was doing like triage.
Yeah. So cysteine was getting reabsorbed in the body. And about 3 hours later, they saw a rise in glutathione levels.
Okay. And
so wait a second.
Yeah. Explain.
So wait a second. So here you paid $50, $100, $200 for a shot of glutathione. The body breaks it down into amino acids, absorbs cysteine, and is being used to produce its own glutathione. Guess what? Save your money. Just use cysteine, and the body will make its own. Cysteine is cheap. It's very, very cheap. Okay?
Yeah, it is.
Save your
we
money.
can buy it as a supplement here in Australia very easily.
All right? So wait a second, but let me finish up all the
Yeah,
answers. Then
yeah.
maybe cysteine is not the answer for everybody either. So
Mm.
number two choice was the next best technology was liposome technology. So just full disclosure, I made liposome technology product back in 1999.
Yeah.
I was one of the pioneers in this liposome technology when it comes to nutraceuticals. This was about 25, 26 years ago. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I made the product. I made a whole bunch. I made vitamin C, CoQ10, glutathione, PQQ, SSN. I made a bunch of products like these. And what I found out was the glutathione was actually not working on everybody. And I said, this is such a powerful molecule. It should help everybody. Why is it not working? Something is not right. And I could not figure out. I could not figure out for the love of my life, I could not figure out, right? I said, okay, fine. I dumped the project. I sold the vitamin C and all those things to other companies so they start making products and they start selling the products. I got out of the business of liposomes and I started working on different technology to see if I can improve the glutathione levels. So you can take NAC, is an FDA approved product. Great, it works. IVs, the body will convert into cysteine, and cysteine is reabsorbed and it makes its own glutathione.
Yeah, it seems like a bit of a roundabout way now that you
It's a roundabout way.
explain. Yeah, yeah.
I want to find out is that even with those people, it did not work on everybody. And at that time, we didn't have the technology to see why it was not working. Today, we have a technology. We can figure out if you have a gene mutation that you cannot conjugate and make your own glutathione correctly. It's called GSTM, GSTP, GGT. If you have one of those enzyme defects that you cannot conjugate and make your own glutathione, you can give all the supplementations in the world. And if the body breaks it down and it cannot make it attach it up again, you're out of luck.
And does that go for NAC as well
That
for
goes for
those
NAC as
people?
well. That goes for NAC as
Ah,
well. And
okay.
so that was, I did not know until recently, okay?
Mm.
But
And do
back
we
then I
know
said,
what approximately what percentage of the population
it's a
that
very
is?
small bit, between 5 and 7% only. But the thing is, we have not tested everybody yet. It's like if you asked me 100 years ago, how many people have diabetes? Oh, very small percentage because nobody tested them,
Yeah. Well,
right?
and 1 in 25 is 1 in 20 is still significant. Like that's a lot of people walking around
There's a lot of people.
with
And the thing
master
is,
accident on antioxidant issues.
well, the thing is, they
Mm.
don't have it when they're born.
Mm.
It's a mutation that's happened later on in your life.
Got it.
So
So
you have the gene.
could it be that someone who took a lot of Tylenol style products in their 20s then has a polymorphism develop epigenetically?
I do not know about that one. No,
Mm.
that means you're assuming that the tyrosine is the one that's causing the gene alterations for the GGT or GST, which I don't have the correlation for
We
that one
don't
yet.
have the answer yet.
No, we don't
No.
have the answer for that one yet.
Mm.
But I do know that if it does happen, like for example, if you have a BRCA genes for breast cancer, it doesn't mean you have breast cancer at this point.
Yeah.
But if the genes for it, so the conditions are right, you're gonna get breast cancer,
Mm.
right? So if the conditions are right, your body cannot produce glutathione. And then you see the people just go just down really, really fast. You get
Mm.
some weird cancer and die within 2 days, die within 2 years, right? And
Wow.
I've seen those cases so many times that they said, oh my God, he was such a healthy, or she was such a healthy person, and boom, you got one disease and just went down and really, really fast and just gone, right? Because the alteration of genes is what's happening at the later on in your life.
Mm.
So my goal was, hey, is there a way to bypass all your barriers and get the glutathione inside your body? So at that time, back in the early 90s, Dr. Anthony Fauci, I don't know if you know him, but Dr.
Mm.
Anthony Fauci was actually working on technology to deliver antiretrovirals for HIV patients using sugar molecules. Of course, he failed miserably, but he spent billions of taxpayers' dollars to bring this technology into the market. And I picked up his work and says, hey, you know what? I can use a technology to deliver glutathione,
Right.
right? But I have two barriers. Skin is a physical barrier, and the cells is a chemical barrier. I know if I go through my mouth or to my stomach, the body's just going to break it apart. Everything's just going to be broken apart. But the enzymes and acids we have is going to break everything apart. So I had no choice but to go through other route than mouth completely, right? I can do nasal spray, but it'll burn because it's acid. It's the pH is very, very low, so it'll burn my nose off. I did try that too, by the way. So it did burn my nose off.
I'm glad you put yourself out there for science,
Yeah.
Nayan. Thank you.
But so it's not going to work. So I knew only choice I had was the skin route. But I had two problems. The physical barrier, I had to bring the particle size small enough. And glutathione is a large molecule, right? And so we use a technology to literally twist the molecule, and when you twist it, because it's a peptide, it's like a small 3 amino acid chain peptide, which is not a protein yet, because protein is like 50 to 100 peptides to amino acids coming together as a protein. This is a small peptide. So we just twisted it. When it twisted it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. I got my job done. Get through your skin. The bigger problem was the chemical barrier. The cell wall is not going to take it. Oh, it's good for you. Give me amino acids, I'll make my own glutathione. So there's my second dilemma. But what does the cell want? Cell wants sugar. For the mitochondria to process it, to produce ATP, so it needs carbohydrates, sugars, but I cannot give you sugar because I'll just give you diabetes. So I had to figure out an inert molecule that is basically acts like a sugar, goes in the body, doesn't do anything, and it just comes right back out again.
Wow.
So that's what I use. Go back to Dr. Fauci's work from the late 80s, early 90s, where he was working on this dextrin technology, polysaccharide molecules. So we took this molecule. There are a bunch of those molecules. I had to figure out the most inert one and see if I can use that. So I played around with it. So we had to combine 2 or 3 different types of dextrin molecules, and we put the sugar molecules and we stuffed inside with glutathione because the particle size was too small now. We're able to stuff it in. When we got that in, it went through your skin, it went through your cells, and within seconds was inside your body, inside your cells. And for the very first time, I mean, you apply over here, and 15 minutes later, you do a blood draw, and the levels are woof, sky high in the red blood cells.
And so this is very different then to someone being given a liposomal pump of glutathione as a supplement from their naturopath, or an IV at their integrative doctor that costs an absolute bomb. So what is it? Like, how do people, I mean, we've got details in the show notes in terms
which is fine.
But your work, but
it's a topical product. It's a topical glutathione product. It smells funky. Just please don't get me.
I know glutathione always smells funky.
It's a smell. But the thing is, the smell, I cannot get rid of it. If I get rid of the smell, all the power of glutathione goes away. And I tell all my customer calls me and say, hey, can you do about the smell? I say, you know what? I'm glad you're not a doctor, because if you cut open a human body, it doesn't smell like roses from inside. Please take my answer as is, because if you want to smell like roses, then it's not a human body. A body from inside stinks. It's really foul smell, right? And so the smell is just part of the signature of what glutathione is. So please ignore that. Unfortunately, the dextrin, the sugar, the polysaccharide molecule that we use is very sticky on your skin as well. So it's sticky, sticky and smelly. It's not the best product.
Yeah, you're really selling it there.
I know. I'm really trying to. I think I've sold a couple of people so far. But it absorbs so fast. The smell goes away. The stickiness goes away. If you just rub it in for about a couple of minutes, everything is in your body. And for the very first time, your body gets, oh my God, it's like you can have a job, and you can, if you need money, you can go work for somebody, and 2 or 3 weeks later, they'll send you a check. You go to the bank, cash the check out, and now the money's in your wallet. Versus, here's the money in your wallet straight up for doing nothing.
Yeah.
Right? It's amazing. Now, if I give you more money than what you need, you become lazy and don't do anything. But if I just give
Mm.
you enough money for you to survive, you're always working hard.
And so how does one decide
I
for
know.
that individual how much they need?
So that's what I did.
Mm.
So when I first discovered this in 2007, I I could not release the product to the public because I had no idea what to do with it now.
Yeah.
And no pharma company is going to touch it right now at this point because it's not their product.
Mm.
They're not going to touch anything. So I went back and I started doing all the kinds of trials. I started with the doctors. I said, okay, how much to give you? Because keep in mind, my number one goal was what? Bring the oxidative stress down to as low as zero as possible without getting to zero. Because once it gets to
Mhm.
zero, your body becomes lazy and lethargic and tired and fatigued and all kinds of things would happen to you. So I want to be 1 or 0.5, but not zero.
Mhm.
Okay. So how low can I go in every human being without getting any problems, right? And what if it gets to zero or negative? What could happen? So I had to give you both answers for those things, right? So first thing I did was I started giving people the dose that I thought was the IV dose, which is 0.5 gram to 1 gram per day. And oh my God, I had reactions up the wazoo. I was so bad reactions. I said, it can't be right. So I started doing some
So this
blood
is
tests.
you doing it to yourself as the very first
Yeah, of
test.
course, of course.
Mm. Yeah.
So then
Okay.
I applied, do the blood draw, and then I call one of the doctors I work with and say, you know what, just send me some products. I'll do it myself. So he started doing it himself. He started putting different doses. And what we found out, our needs of glutathione is actually very small.
Mm.
We only need about maybe like 100 milligrams twice a day.
Wow. And
That's
twice
it.
a day because of its
It only stays in
lifespan
the
in the
body for,
body?
it uses up very, very fast, right?
Yeah.
If you're very, very healthy, you may go to get away with once a day.
Mm.
Like today myself, I've been using it for so many years. I only do once a day,
Mm.
but I do more than 100 I probably do like 150, 180 milligrams once a day only at this point. But I've known what my needs are, right? And I'll share with you how to see those needs.
Yeah, I was going to ask because you mentioned reactions. What were
I
the
know.
negative impacts of such high amounts?
Yeah. So once I did the low dose, I got the high levels on almost everybody, right?
Mm.
Now, if you are diseased, your needs are even higher, right? So uh, about 3 years ago, I launched another product with a higher concentration for that as well. Because
Hmm.
I've seen a lot of people have so much autoimmune conditions and cancer patients and a lot of metabolic disorders, and their needs are higher. So I said, you know what? I'll just make you a higher concentration product too. But what happened was that if you're otherwise healthy and if you take too much of glutathione, either you have stomach cramps, diarrhea, headaches, rashes where you apply the product, uh, or extreme fatigue. I mean, fatigue to the point where you can't get out of the bed for a day.
Mm.
If that happens to you, two things. One, first of all, the body's not able to handle all this release of toxins out of your body. There's way, way too much release. So work with your body, slow it down. Okay. Two is that the dose is too much for you to handle regardless. If you're extremely healthy, it's way too much for you. Just cut back a little bit of the dose and you should be okay. Right. So we thought that 100 milligrams, which is roughly about 0.5 ml of the liquid, is all you have to apply on a twice a day basis to get the levels that you're looking for. But once I started getting the results, it took me another 12 more years to see all the data coming through.
Mm.
Hence, I wrote the book, The Glutathione Revolution. Is all my uh, work for the first 12 years after I discovered the product and before I released the product to the public. Because I haven't released the product yet. I had no intention of releasing the product until I was ready. Like scientists, you're never ready. You're always
Mm.
learning more things. So I said, you know what? Let me write the book first, and at least people will start learning about the glutathione on my work first. And then the pandemic hit, and I was getting calls from everybody saying, hey, release the product, release the product, release the product. And so 2020, we kind of released the product prematurely. We had no packaging, no bottling ready, but we let the public have the product. And 2021, we actually officially launched the company.
Wow. Well, congratulations. It's an incredible body of work. And And I think, in reading the book and chatting with you now, there's obviously two conversations being had in the world about glutathione. There's the technical, on paper, obvious need for, and then everyone goes and supplements it. And then there's the technical, on paper, obviously super important. How do we actually get it into a cell? Because
right.
that's the conversation you decided to explore, and that's really cool. Can I ask just a question? Because
Yeah.
glutathione's always been interesting. Well, been interesting to me for the last 8-9 years, because I became incredibly unwell living in a water damaged building for a number of years, unbeknownst
Mm-hmm.
to us. So the oxidative stress picture was, I mean, I think I had about 28, 9 symptoms, horrific symptoms, palpitations, twitching, tremor, spasm, like, I mean, heart tachycardia, arrhythmia, like so many horrific things. I genuinely thought I was going to die. It was so bad.
Okay.
And I remember my naturopath at the time saying, my gosh, you need oxidative support. Let's get you quercetin. Let's get you glutathione. Let's, start giving you some battle soldiers in there. But every time I pumped the glutathione, I felt like I was having an asthma attack. It's like I
Okay.
couldn't breathe. And then she wanted to give me glycine because that was going to help me with my sleep. But that put me to sleep, like worse to sleep, exhaustion, which was why I found it really interesting. You're talking about fatigue there, as it's almost like sometimes too much. And I know glycine is one of the amino acids that plays
That's
into
right.
glutathione. So do you have a comment there? Because since that experience and in talking to other people, as a supplement, even though after speaking to you, we now know the limitations and, in fact, ineffectiveness of a lot of what's on the market. But do you have a comment on that? Because a lot of people have said similar things.
So I uh I have lots and lots of customers that are using it for mold infestations.
Mm,
They're coming from physicians' offices because I'm also in the lecture circuit to educate doctors about mold and biotoxins and how to deal with it. I'm also a pharmacist. I also have a pharmacy. I
mm.
still make medications even today's date.
Oh,
So
wow.
I still get to see on both spectrums, right? So in the
Mm,
pharmacy, I'll wear my lab coat and I'll go back and treat with medications. I'll give them binders and something to do with all the mycotoxins. And on the other hand, I'll take my lab coat off, and as a as a consultant, I'm also having them take glutathione to help build their own immune system. So
mm.
what you're experiencing uh, is is a detox reaction that your body's not able to handle it.
Yeah,
Two things can be done. Either increase your dose on your binders. So I'm assuming you're taking the charcoal binder
yeah,
or
yeah.
cholestyramine or something like that. Increase the dose on that so you're binding faster, more efficiently, or reduce the glutathione to what your body can tolerate.
Mm,
Once you know what you can tolerate, you slowly increase every 4 to 7 days to the max dose.
mm,
And it'll take you about 2 to 3 weeks. But once you get to the max dose and you have no symptoms, that's when the cleanup starts really. And
mm,
after that, it's just a matter of a couple of weeks after that, and you see the full-blown effect of glutathione on your body. It's not going to get rid of mold for you, but your energy levels are up back again. Your sleep is getting better. You're breathing better. You don't have any issues like those that are debilitating when it comes to mold attacks.
mm.
Uh, Unfortunately, the mold is something that's going to be there for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I
So
know.
it's not going to go away. So
Mm,
you're probably going to need help from immune boosters like glutathione for the rest of your life.
mm.
A lot of my patients also have issues, similar issues when they drink red wine because they have sulfur allergies,
Yeah.
right?
Can you
And
speak
so,
to that? That's interesting, because a
yeah,
lot
yeah,
of people have that.
a lot of because they get flushing when they drink a glass of red wine. The whole face becomes red tomatoes, right?
Or
Uh,
people who eat cruciferous veggies and then they clear a room with bad farts, like that smell
yeah.
like sulfur, or yeah.
And so what they're having is what we call them is sulfite allergies.
Mm,
And So the glutathione is not a sulfur drug. It smells like sulfur. It's not a sulfur drug at all. But what it does, it binds and gets rid of the sulfur components out of your system. I have so many customers. First of all, I tell them not to drink red wine, but they, of course, they want to drink red wine. Uh, After 30 days of using glutathione, guess what? They can drink a glass or two without getting the flushing and redness anymore. They feel so happy because now they can go to parties and don't feel like they're embarrassing themselves, right?
Mm.
And so that's what we have been using. So I have a lot of patients that there are sulfur allergies, and they can take the glutathione product without any concerns or problems whatsoever.
Amazing. So if someone wanted to try supplementation, key is to start very small to the point where you don't experience an adverse effect and then start slowly building up.
So that's another thing. I get this question from oncologists right now, right? That which person do you know is going to have an issue with it? So those people can start low and go higher, right?
Yeah.
And I've treated people that are completely healthy and people that are completely sick, right? Chemical sensitivity is extremely sick. I don't give me too much because I'm going to break out rashes. I'm just going to go crazy. Versus I'm so healthy, give me whatever you got, right? And I've seen on both people, I can take a healthy person down and get them bedridden for a day, and I can get a sickest person and nothing happens to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I have yet to figure out who is the ideal person that needs to start a low dose and go higher, and I have not figured out that part yet. So I tell everybody, start on the recommended dose, 4 sprays about 0.5 ml, use it twice a day, and for any reason you get a headache, stomach cramps, diarrhea, rashes, fatigue, stop it, go back down the second day on the lower dose, see if your body can tolerate that part. If the answer is yes, stay on it for about 3 to 7 days, then increase it to a little bit more higher dose again, and then go back to the full dose again.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you can do that way, that's the only sure thing I know as of right now. Unfortunately, you have to suffer for a day, but at least I'll know that you'll be out for recovery very, very soon. And if you get any symptoms like these and you go back and then come back up to normal again, this you're gonna have the most profound effect in the next 15 to 30 days after getting on the full dose. So these are my evangelists, so to call, or my raving fans, because they feel such a difference in their life that they feel good. I had one lady in Germany that she used 1 spray only, 1/4 the dose, which is the smallest dose I have. And she was knocked out in the bed for 2 days.
Wow.
2 days. And I get a call and said, I'm so sorry, I cannot take this product because I only use 1 spray and I'm knocked out. So for that one person, I made another product at no cost to her, half the concentration.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her, use that product once a day, 1 spray only. And she was able to tolerate that part. A month
Right.
later, I get a call from her saying that, hey, I'm back to 4 sprays twice a day, but I'm not feeling any effects now. I said, lady, I knocked you out in one spray. Now you're feeling fine. You're expecting miracles at this point. Just
Yeah.
hang in there right now. Now it's a path of recovery.
Mm.
Now it's a path of recovery. So yeah, people forget the good days and the bad days too, right?
Yeah. And I
I just
think
want to,
what I'm hearing is that there are two phases of supplementation that are working on detox pathways, which is the phase where you're actually building into creating the stage to being able to detoxify, and then the
yeah,
actual detoxification taking place.
true. It's a phase one, phase two, and gluten affects both the phases.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, I feel like I could talk to you about glutathione for another hour, Nayan, but thank you for your time. It was a really interesting deep dive into something a lot of people hear a lot about and think that they should be on it. But that has given us a really interesting look into the many ways we can make sure that what we're doing is useful. And my favorite one was something everyone can start from today, which is to
Yes.
look at your toxic inputs and reduce or eliminate and then increase your cysteine foods. I love that because
That,
everyone can start that today. So
that's the
thank you.
easiest way to do it. If you allow me, I can share a story with you.
Yeah, yeah, do it.
Uh, I want to share a story about my father.
Mm-hmm.
At the age of 78, which was about 13, 14 years ago, um, he was diagnosed with chest pains, went to doctors, and of course, his artery was completely blocked. He didn't get an infarction, he didn't get a heart attack, but he didn't put a stent in there because he couldn't even walk, right? It was completely 100% blocked. And the doctor goes, I can't believe you're even alive today. Keep in mind, at the age of 78, he had diabetes for over 35, 40 years, arthritis for 30 plus years, blood pressure issues for that long, a little bit on the heavier side. Uh, Over life was decent. And if you look at the score, if he was living versus surviving, I think he was more linked towards surviving and just passing his time on this planet.
Mm.
Okay. About that time, I had discovered the glutathione, and I was studying on the glutathione, and I figured out what the dose was going to be, right dose for all my patients and everybody else. So of course, Dad, you're patient number one. There you go. Let's get
Yeah,
you started.
wow.
He was my patient number one. And I share this story with you because I want to give people hope that it's okay to have diseases. It's okay to have all these things. It's never too late, right? Because at the age of 78, I started giving him some glutathione. About 2, 3 years later, I was watching him eat dinner one day, and he was pounding on sugars and carbs. I said, Dad, why are you eating so much sugar? You know, your sugar is going to be out of control, and now you have to deal with this toxicity of sugars in the future. Oh, no, 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 my sugars are fine. I said, what? Yeah, my sugars are fine. It's been fine for almost a year and a half now. My A1C is
Hmm.
very, very low. I got no problem. I said, I don't trust you.
Yeah.
I don't.
Did you literally ask to see his
Yeah.
blood work? You did, didn't
Yeah. So
you?
he said, oh, yeah, it's on my cell phone. So I pick up
Mm.
his cell phone. I said, logged in. I said, give me a face. And I logged in the system. And I checked his lab workup, and yeah, his A1C was actually back to normal. I said, Dad, have you been testing your sugar? I said, yeah. It's fine. I've been testing. I stopped testing like 3, 4 months ago because it's never gone high anymore. And I goes, wait a second. I said, how about your diabetes pills? Oh, that's also gone. I'm using one pill a day right now because the doctor doesn't want to take me off the one pill.
Mm.
I said, okay. I said, okay. I'm okay with it right now. I said, but Dad, just want to make sure that you walk every single day, because I know you have arthritis, but I want you to walk every day because they'll keep your sugar levels low as well. So don't give up on walking, exercising every single day. I said, walking here. He gives me his phone. I look at
His
his
step
app,
count? Yeah.
step count, 6 miles per day he was walking. And I
Wow.
fall back. I said, wait a second, 6 miles a day. I said, there's nothing I got left to talk to him, right? I said, Dad, keep up with the good work. I don't know what to say. But you know me, I never put two and two together.
Mm.
I didn't think, because I was still researching, I was still finding out different things. I was so much into my own work, and I myself was not healthy, right?
Yeah.
And so I was not doing good myself. I was just working too hard, and just I look at my dad and said, Dad is getting healthy, and I'm still the same. But I didn't think about that too much. Another year or two goes by, and then it comes to me and say, you know what? I went to my chiropractor, and it says that my knees are given in. That's why my hips are is out of shape. So I should get a knee replacement done. I said, okay. I said, he's already 84 now, right? I said, oh, shoot. I said,
Wow.
what am I going to do with the knee replacement? I went to an orthopedic surgeon, and surgeon goes, oh my God. I said, his knees are completely deformed.
Mm.
How? And you have no pain. I said, no, he has no pain. I said, oh my God, it's really, really bad. I said, yeah, I've done it for 40 plus years. Of course it's bad, right?
Yeah.
So it goes, yeah, I recommend to replace both his knees so we can do one knee at a time. And my dad goes, oh no, both knees at the same time. Because I heard the stories that if you do one knee, I'll never come back for the second knee because it's so painful surgery.
Mm.
I said, but if you do both the knees, there's nobody to take care of you. You're 84 years old, and you won't be able to go to the bathroom. You can do things. If something goes wrong, you'll be out of luck. My dad goes, no, both knees at the same time. And so he convinced the doctor to do the knees at the same time, but the doctor says, okay, fine. And so I looked up, I said, how to prepare my dad for surgery. So I got him a bicycle to get on the bicycle every day, 30 to 60 minutes a day to get his quads very strong, because then when the surgery is done, he won't be able to use his limbs, so he can get deteriorated, the muscles get deteriorated. So I said, let me prepare you for the surgery. And he was such a good sport. He cannot walk, but he was on the cycles every single day, making this cricket noise in his knees, but he was just going at it every day, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So long story short, he got the knee replacement done. 2 days later, 48 hours later, he's walking out of the hospital on his own.
What?
2 days later, right? And of course, the nurses were shocked. I said, what? I said, yeah, it's painful, but he's walking. He's walking, literally walking in 2 days, right? So the nurses put a Superman shirt on him. I said, oh my God, this guy's amazing, right? Then he put a shirt on him, it's this physical shirt, right? And said, hey, you're a Superman, right? And of course, he get a kick out of all these things because he had a renewed life, right? And he comes home. He started having physical therapy. A nurse comes every week to get him to walk. Within the first 30 days, he was already walking 1.5 miles around the
That's
block,
incredible. For
right?
an 84-year-old guy.
For an 80, well,
Go
84,
dad.
85 now. And
Mm.
then what happened was the doctor says, well, don't think about doing anything right now because this is a slow recovery. At this age, you'll be lucky if you can travel in 6 months. 3.5 months later, he was in India traveling
Wow.
already. By the way, my mom passed away 25 plus years ago, so he was single. At this age, he was
Mm.
single, picks up his bags and goes to India. He goes towards Africa. We have a place in Africa as well. So he goes to Africa, he goes to India, traveling the world. And I tell the story because after he started his glutathione, after his infarction and his stent put in there, no medications whatsoever, just using the glutathione alone, he started coming to all vacations with us. He came to us to Yosemite National Park for hiking. He went to Hawaii for a 7-day excursion. He went to Costa Rica for a 10-day excursion with us, doing rappelling and whitewater rafting and all those things. He went to Australia for 2 months and New Zealand for 2 months. Went to the Glacier Mountains over there and just walking every single thing. He went to Alaska. He went to Alaska over
Wow.
there too. I mean,
That's a pretty
uh,
good story for
it's
patient
a
number
very good
one.
story, right? And
Mm.
then last year he was in India traveling the world. Again, he was in India. This was again in February, so he was traveling the world, uh, enjoying his life, eating his street foods like he normally does. But this time he got some stomach bug and he got diarrhea from it. I said, Dad, please don't eat the street food. You get the bugs from those things. Just eat warm food. Go to the restaurants. You got plenty of money. You have nothing to worry about. Go to
Mm.
nice restaurants and just eat some good quality food. And of course, yeah, I got this covered. Don't worry about it, right? Yeah, he got diarrhea, we got loose bowel movements, and they got dehydrated. And the next morning in the shower, bam, he falls down.
Mm.
He broke his skull from the
Oh
back.
my gosh.
He broke his skull on the back of it, right? Goes to the hospital. I get a call. I said, son, don't worry about it. I'm fine. Look at me. I'm fine. Okay. I arranged a I know the head of neurosurgery for NFL over here in the United States, and
Mm.
so I called him up. I said, my dad just fall down in India, and I said, oh my God, is he coherent? Is he okay? I said, yep, he's fine. He seems to know every single thing. There's no loss of memory. I said, good. Don't do anything yet. Give me a couple of hours. Okay. In a couple of hours, I get a call from India from a surgeon. I said, hey, so and so doctor sent me to see your dad. I'm here with your dad, and I just want to let you know how he's doing. I said, oh my God, there's already somebody watching him already. He said he's fine. There's internal bleeding going on, but he has no loss of memory. If on the surface, he looks like perfectly healthy, 89-year-old, perfectly healthy,
Wow.
no problem whatsoever, right? I said, if he survives for the next 3 or 4 days, he'll be fine. Don't worry about it, right? So I tell the stories because at the age of 78, he was barely surviving.
Mm.
For the last 12 years, was he surviving or living his life?
He's living his life.
He's living his life, right?
That's
And
what
as soon
everyone
as,
deserves.
oh my God, everybody deserves that part. And so
Mm.
as soon as the surgeons left, but dad said, see, I told you, nothing to worry. I'm coming to US next week. Don't worry about it. Don't come over here. I'll come by myself. I got nothing to worry about. He called everybody. He called my family. He calls his sister. He calls his brother. And he looks like, oh my God, it's too late. I said, I'll call and talk to you tomorrow. Puts his phone down. And he never wakes up again. And
Wow.
and my heart goes out for him, but at the same time, don't you want to die that way?
Yeah.
Where you talk to everybody in good conscience, in happy and healthy and laughing and joking, and you sleep and you never wake up again.
Mm.
But it's not just the last day, it's the last 12 years of his life.
Yeah.
He took every vacation he wanted to do. He did everything he wanted to do. He did not say, he'll tell me and say, hey, if you book a vacation, you make sure you book a seat for me with you guys. Don't leave me
Mm.
alone over here by myself. Okay, I'm coming
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
Where you going? And he was such a good sport that he did everything we want. If we would do, he would do it with us. Didn't
Mm.
matter. Did not matter. Right? He'll do with us. A little slow, but he'll do it. Doesn't matter. Right?
Yeah.
And so he lived his best years of his life in the 80s. And so I tell the stories because I know that people out there listening, they have given hope that, hey, I already have all these problems. I just pray to God that just take me peacefully.
Mm.
And I tell you, no,
Yeah,
trust your
we set a
body.
very low bar for ourselves, don't we?
Yes.
Mm.
And I tell everybody, trust your body. Your body has a stronger will to survive than you do.
Mm.
Your body is resilient, is made just so perfect. Embrace your body. Do the right thing for your body. You can give up alcohol. You can give up sugar. You can enhance glutathione levels. Drink water. Stop drinking all the other junks. And guess what? Your body will respond positively. It will
Mm.
let you enjoy your life once again.
Yeah.
And that's my prayer to everybody that's listening today, that please do not give up hope. Do what it takes to survive. Do what it takes and trust your body. The body is more stronger than you think it is.
What a beautiful story and
Yeah,
prayer to end on. Thank you so
absolutely.
much. And I look forward to publishing this and getting it out there and sharing your work with other people. So make sure you guys check out the show notes. Thanks,
Thank
Nayan.
you. Thank you very much.
I hope you loved today's show as much as I loved bringing it to you. I want to remind you that if you are someone who craves a low tox community that is judgment free, full of empowerment, has health professionals and building health professionals that can support you, as well as me in there answering questions multiple times a week, I want to invite you to join the Low Tox Club. For the price of less than a cup of coffee a month, you have an annual membership for $49 Australian, so it's about $30 US or euro, that allows you to have a member masterclass every single month with a health professional or global expert from the podcast, where we have them to ourselves for an hour to ask questions and deep dive further. You have the beautiful supportive chat group. You have Q&As with me answering questions. We read books and talk about them, and a whole bunch more. You can head to lowtoxlife.com, hit the explore tab, and join the club is the very first option on that list. Of course, we have over 10 evergreen courses that you can jump into anytime, whether it's navigating everyday low tox swaps with our Go Low Tox signature course, whether you have kids and you're wanting to know how to best support them with our Low Tox Kids course, whether you're planning a family and looking at a healthy low tox preconception journey, reducing inflammation, especially the chronic kind, with our Inflammation Ninja course, many other courses. You can again head to lowtoxlife.com, hit the courses tab, and you'll see all of the options, which includes a business course, my Low Tox Method program. A lot of people don't know, but I was doing a lot before starting Low Tox Life in 2009, and I was a business consultant across hospitality, health, retail, and cosmetics. I have been in business consulting for a very long time, so I absolutely adore helping people move into the low tox space or develop their low tox businesses. So that's a way I can support you. And then, of course, there's our wonderful social media communities at Low Tox Life on Instagram and of course, the website with over 250 gluten-free recipes, blogs, downloadable PDFs to help you navigate wanting to get rid of synthetic fragrances in your school or office. I could go on. So head to lowtoxlife.com, see what takes your interest or fancy, and thank you so much for being a part of our podcast community. I love, love, love reading your reviews. I appreciate every follow and subscribe, and I want to just remind you to finish off that if there's anything you heard that you found interesting from a medical or scientific perspective, it is intended as education only. Please always chat to a health professional who knows you and your situation best. I'll see you next week. Bye.